Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Yannick. We are about to finish game week 1. Actually, that's a lie. Everton and Leeds play on Monday Night Football. But as I record and speak to you now, it's the dying embers of stoppage time of Arsenal and Manchester United. A very surprising performance from Manchester United. Probably outplaying Arsenal in this game. And if you swap the goalkeepers around, Man United win 2-0? That's probably a conservative estimate. They're playing at home, of course. I want to react to this game. I'm also going to speak about, the game week generally, the opening game week for the Premier League. Some big results, of course. Man City slam dunking, a big result. Sunderland putting Graham Potter on fraud watch, a 3-0 win there. I'll look at the numbers a little bit, but I'll start talking about Manchester United and Arsenal. By the way, welcome back. Really happy to have you here on Football Yannick. Very much an enjoyable passion project of mine, this YouTube channel, and we're very close to 20k. Very much, I want to get it by the end of the summer. I think we can. So if you like the content, you like my conversational footballing talk, then please do like and subscribe. As Harry Maguire gets pulled to the ground in the penalty area, but not getting a penalty because it's a little bit soft. So, in regards to this game, that's in the final minute of stoppage time now, we're about to enter. Man United look like a big boy serious team. I mean, the goal that Arsenal scored was playing the hits for a Mikel Arteta team. It was a corner routine, it's a new corner. They no longer line up at the back post. They're all at the end of the 18-yard box. It was Calafiore that scores. Oh la! Raya again making a save. At the 95th minute off a set piece from Harry Maguire. And to be honest, I think like Onana's injured. I don't know why Onana's unavailable. They needed better goalkeeper. Bayendi's in goal. We know he's not good. And funnily enough, on the corner, he was really, really weak. And there was another example of a similar phase of play up the other end in the other box, and Raya just absolutely dominates. I think it's De Ligt and punches the ball out. Basically, what Bayendi should have done when they had their set piece. And Man United still going for it here. But I gotta say, mate, we speculated this, but the fact how just Cunha and Mbeumo, they spent loads of money on them. But everyone thought, yeah, they're really good. And they are. They are just really good Premier League operators. They're good to go out of the box. And you could see that they were forcing saves from Raya. They were looking confident. They were combining well. It is the first match day of the season. And it's a 1-0 win. There you go, full time for Mikel Arteta's boys with a stinky corner routine. Football heritage. TV off. But, yeah. We saw the strikers. Gyökeres started. Didn't have a good game, didn't really get involved. Kai Havertz came on for him. A lot of people speculate that Kai Havertz will become, again, the first choice centre forward for Mikel Arteta. And I don't think that's a radical shout from what we're seeing from Gyökeres in terms of just a profiling thing. And then Šeško didn't start for United and then came on later on and didn't really look that comfortable, but in terms of the front three, I guess in the front three was Mason Mount, false nine, or was it sort of Cunha down the middle, flanked by Mount and Mbeumo? I've been saying I think Mason Mount will be the perfect player for Ruben Amorim. And, the good times, could they be back for Man United? I know we're saying that after a 1-0 loss at home, but they just look like a football team. They don't look like they've got a goalkeeper, but they look like a football team. The defence not awful. The wing-backs are serviceable. But that sort of functionality in attack is great fun. And, when you've got Luke Shaw coming back, Mason Mount playing 90 minutes, you're through the looking glass, man. Do you know what I mean? So Arsenal will just be happy as Larry to get the 3 points at Old Trafford. Doesn't matter. It's opening day settings. It is what it is. Let's talk about the other games then. I won't really talk about Chelsea Palace. I've got a whole Chelsea YouTube channel. 0-0. I think the biggest takeaway from that is that Chelsea were nullified, but Palace are just a different beast on the Glasner. Obviously City couldn't beat them. Liverpool couldn't beat them in finals. Chelsea struggled to break them down. Eze does look like he's off to Spurs. I think that was his last game at Stamford Bridge, last game for Palace. So we'll see if he's off. But yeah, I think, without dissecting Chelsea, because I do that all the time, the takeaway is just how good Palace are. Now, Forest beat Brentford 3-1 at home. And the goal, it was a Chris Wood brace and then a Ndoye goal. I think it was his... Is that first goal for the club? I think so. I think Thiago's first goal for Brentford. I don't know. I need to look at the details. Look, man, they were 3-0 up in the first half, so maybe they took their foot off the gas and then they conceded a late penalty. The takeaway for me is Brentford, a lot of people have tipped them for a relegation fight, and it is plausible, bro. I'm telling you, because they've lost Mbeumo, played in this game. They've lost their manager, which is the biggest loss. They've lost Norgard in midfield, he was a hugely important player for them. And then they've got some set-piece coaching to be their gaffer. They'll back themselves to be the data boys, and but I just don't think they can do it like, I trust the other smaller sort of teams that are really data heavy driven, like I suppose Bournemouth, but Brighton's the biggest example. So we'll see what happens there. Yesterday, Saturday, Aston Villa and Newcastle had a draw. Villa went down to 10 men, so they'll be happy ultimately to get the point, even though they're at home. And of course the story is Newcastle not having Isak. They had chances, they didn't have a proper centre forward. If they had Isak, they win that game. That is the talking point there, but they both drop points. Similarly, Brighton, Fulham, kind of similar level teams. I look at them at the moment like the sort of middle class of the Premier League that would try and push to 8th if they can. They saw out a 1-1 draw. It was actually a sort of it's a 55th minute penalty for Brighton. O'Reilly converted, but then Muniz in the 97th minute. That will feel like a winner away from home against Brighton, scoring the equaliser. So let's talk about things that aren't surprising. Tottenham beating Burnley 3-0. It's a promoted side, Burnley, that everyone thought, well, now they've lost Trafford in goal, how are they going to do? They were insanely good last season. And how many games is it in the Championship? Is it 48? 46? 46 games? They conceded like 16 goals, which is unimaginably good. And they conceded 3 in their first game. So it just shows you the Premier League's a different beast. I know they lost their goalkeeper. Richarlison scored a brace. One of them was a freaking naughty goal, mate. An overhead acrobatic, and Brennan Johnson. So Frank Ball has started with a big, shiny 3-0 win. It's Burnley. It's great. It's great. They would have taken a 1-0 win, a 2-1 win. A 3-0 is really good, but we'll learn more about them in time, I should think. Real surprising, Sunderland, promoted Sunderland, winning 3-0 against Graham Potter's West Ham. A West Ham that had Fulkrug up front, that was the worst performer on the pitch, so say if so for score. I've got him in my fantasy Premier League, so there you go, that answers your question. But, still Bowen and Paqueta up there with him, and, they've got Ward-Prowse and Wan-Bissaka, Rodriguez. Still got Todibo, who's meant to be a good operator, Gerd and Kilman. They bought Mads Hermansen from Leicester, the goalkeeper. West Ham fans would have been thinking, okay, what can you do, Potter? Lose 3-0 to promoted Sunderland that went up through the playoffs, not even automatic promotion. Graham Potter, I think, is done out here, man. Maybe Chelsea broke him. Maybe he should have just taken the England job if it was available to him. Wow. Right, now time to get worried, Premier League, because Man City won away 4-0 against Wolves. You might say, well, it's Wolves, they've lost Cunha, yada, yada, yada. But Vitor Pereira still can get them set up in a robust manner, and they started quite well, Wolves, but they ended up getting slapped. Cherky scored a late goal, Haaland scored a brace in the sort of 34th, 61st minute, and Reinders scored in the 37th minute, and for me, SofaScore's given Haaland man of the match because he scored 2 goals, but Reinders, for me, was the man of the match because he covered 11.6 kilometres, which is a lot, loads of passes, key passes as well, he made a couple. He didn't lose possession a lot, he's all action. They say he can play as a CDM, but also as a more attacking guy. He played next to Gonzalez, who's the CDM. But he looked like a difference maker for Manchester City. Not just the goal and assists or whatever. the goal and assist, excuse me. The first goal, which he didn't get credited for an assist, he got like the pre-assist. He did a magnificent dribble, and I was thinking, oh, this looks good. And then you get Cherky coming on and scoring at the end, and I think they're going to win the Premier League. I don't want to react to just this. I just think, like, even before this, they're really good. It's just Pep vengeance mission. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of worried about. First day of the Premier League, of course, was Liverpool-Bournemouth. 4-2. Liverpool scoring 4 goals, but Semenyo made it 2-2. By the 76th minute, of course, he was subject to racism. I think I've reacted to this on the channel. Chiesa scored what was a late winner, 88th, and then Mo Salah and stoppage just dunked one in as well. I think, in terms of what the teams look like and how that Liverpool game played up at Anfield, how Man City played away at Molineux, I think just Man City just look poised to just win the Premier League, genuinely. I think it's Pep revenge mission. I think Haaland is just going to score goals, but they're going to have other players that score goals, and they've got that sort of additional functionality in midfield of using Nico Gonzalez, and maybe he's more ready to go now, and, you know, and just Reinders looks mustard, doesn't he? He does. They don't get much productivity out of the wingers, but I don't think they'll need to. Like, Doku just runs dribbles. You know, Savinho might go to Tottenham with Eze. Is it either or? I'm not sure what's going on there. But still, like I said, there's still Jack Grealish's Everton to play tomorrow night against Leeds, which will be very interesting for its own reasons. But I wanted to give you a roundup for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games here. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.